Alright, so today we're going to be learning how to remove the contour switch on one of these Peavey powered, they make them in 12-inch and 15-inch, 10-inch versions. This switch right here is built-in failure, and I'm going to try and keep everything as best I can in the photograph. These fail. We never use these. They should always be set to flat. I honestly have no idea what the contour function does, but it has never improved the sound of a performance in our band. So we never use this, but these have failed, and they have cost us a lot of time during setup. And so we're going to get rid of these at this point in time. And so a couple of tools you'll need. You'll definitely need a solder sucker to do this, or a soaking tape, some copper soak tape that you can get this. We have to unsolder these 6 pins, and we'll do that. Now, when the button is pushed to the contour setting, which does nothing, it's activating these two pole pieces, these two rear pole pieces from the front. When it's in the flat, which does nothing, again, it's activating these two front pole pieces. You need to cross these two, or these 4 pieces, this one to this one and this one to this one. I've already done it on one of our speakers, and it's working just fine now. So I've solved a problem. I'm going to get my my gun, a little bit of solder on the tip of this, and we'll start to remove these. Oops, my solder sucker's not doing a really great job right now. It might be time to get a new one. There we go, that did it. And these solder suckers are great tools, but you got to be sure to clean them out. Sometimes they'll drop a bunch of solder into onto a hot solder joint and do exactly the opposite of what they're supposed to do. Got that one too. Make sure this is clean. There we go. Get this thing soldered, and you want to be careful with these. You don't get them too hot and damage the circuit board. If you haven't done a whole lot of soldering, I don't recommend trying this necessarily. Yep, see, that's what it did. It just dropped a whole bunch of solder down on a already full solder joint. But I got a good bunch of solder out of there. So these are really old solder suckers. Just I'm making some excuses here while I'm working. I'm gonna get some more of this solder out of here. Let's see, I need a small pin. There we go. Oh yeah, and another thing that you're going to need is a jumper wire. You can use it cutting an end off of a capacitor or something like that. You can use that. So here we go. Well, hopefully this will be easier. The other one was fairly difficult to get off. Just because I couldn't get the solder sucked out of there because I wasn't cleaning my solder sucker. Usually when they're brand new, they work really well. Alright, so let's see how loose this failure, built-in failure is at this point. We'll try and yank this out. Now, I'm not really concerned about breaking this switch, but as you can see, I've gotten it out of there nice and clean. And now I have these poles ready to go with my my fill-in piece. Hopefully you could see all that. My hand wasn't right in the way. I'm going to go ahead and snip this one in half. Let's see, because we don't need a whole lot of wire here to do this repair. And I'm going to pre-bend each one of these pieces so that I can get them jumpered. And I may cut some of the legs off because they're going to be a little bit too long. We don't have to be real careful about how much wire is showing on this, but we'll try and do our best to make it a nice clean job. So I'm pushing that through like that. We want to go to the outer edge. Your volume, this being the front, that will be facing out of the back of the amp. This is a master volume control. So we've installed that one, and we're gonna do the other one here real quick. Hopefully I can make this look as simple as I made the other one look. Again, you don't want to leave a bunch of wire hanging out the front or the back of this. You want to do a nice tidy job. And after I solder this up, I can certainly clip any excess wire off of either of these legs that I'm pushing into here. I didn't quite get that one squeezed together. I know my hand's right in the middle of the movie, and I'm making this look real easy, and I've already disassembled the amplifier. Probably can do this in about 15 minutes or so. So there's that. Now this problem is almost solved. These switches, again, they do absolutely nothing. They're useless. So I do highly recommend, if you own a set of these types of speakers, remove these almost immediately, because they eventually will fail. They've failed on us, and they've cost us quite a bit of time at gigs when we should be sound checking. We're fixing speakers. So I've gotten the top part of that. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the bottom side of these posts, and then we'll just clip off the excess wire. Here we go. You don't really have to solder this bottom half, but I'm going to go ahead and do it just so that I know they aren't going to come out. There we go. There we go. That's all it takes. And now the speaker is impervious to having that switch fail, which it will eventually. And we don't have to deal with messing with these. Excuse me, I almost swore. We don't have to deal with messing with these anymore in the future. These have been a real bugger, and it just took me a while to get to them. So there's our jumper switch, and so here's what I'm going to do real quick. It's just to prove to you that it won't damage anything. We'll just turn this amplifier back on now. I'm gonna let me see here. Here we go. How does this mount? Oh, there we go. There we go. Like this. I'm gonna go ahead and put that back in place. And got a couple of small screws here that will at least hold it in place for the initial test. I don't want this thing flopping around on me. We'll get these in here real quick. I hope everybody's having a really wonderful Saturday. I'm working on my day off, but I'm working for the band, not for the bench. But this is going to save us a whole bunch of time in the future. And ultimately, I'm making this video because we have two of these that are these exact same speakers, only in a 10-inch version, that have been our floor monitors in the band for a lot of years, and we do not want those to fail. We haven't had to mess with those yet. So here we go. We'll put this back in here. I've got to hook up this one small piece of wire, and I can get everything else back on this control panel. I'm sorry if you couldn't see properly. I've got to get this one piece of wire. Oh yeah, and they make this little red and black piece of wire absolutely as short as they can possibly make it. Probably saves them 30 cents a year in their manufacturing process. Oh, and this one's put on the opposite direction that the one in my other speaker was. So depends on if they're made in China or Indonesia or Taiwan, I think, as to what direction they put stuff in these speakers. Nothing is terribly consistent. Let's see. Got that in there. There we go. And everything to go back together nice and tidy. And we've got a power supply here. And hang on just a moment. I'm going to plug the power in And we got a power into the wall outlet, and it should be on. It's on. Turn the volume all the way down to 0, and we'll get a microphone, because you can plug a mic directly into this speaker, and they work just fine. They're not terribly loud. You should run a mixer in front of them, you know. But now my mic is plugged in. It's just a cheap pile. What is it? PDMIC 58. I wonder what that's supposed to be. So now my speaker works, and my contour failure flat switch is removed. And that's downed. It would be 10 times as loud if I had a mixing board in front of it. So now our band will never have to deal with this switch again. We never used it anyway. No one probably ever does. Have no idea why Peavey put this in here, but maybe they'll watch this video and make an alteration if they're still installing these on their speakers. This speaker is probably 10 years old. You can see it's got a little bit of rust on the screws, so it hasn't been handled as lately as possible. It's gotten wet a couple times. There you go. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Alright, any questions? Boltnator, hey Mart, how you doing, man? Good to see you today. Hopefully things are going well for you. It was really nice to see that you had gotten some help from one of our mutual friends. Having somebody to kind of diagnose your sound and offer you advice on that is really awesome. I believe me, I've had plenty of help. It's not something you can necessarily do all by yourself with respect to your sound in StreamYard and YouTube, because for some reason what you hear in StreamYard is not what is heard on YouTube. At least not 100% that I'm aware of. Seems like I've gotten on there many times and everything sounded great, and I'm hearing stuff in my headphones just awesome, but people are like, your voice is really quiet, or your guitar is really quiet, or something's not what I'm hearing in my headphones. And I don't know where that goes south, but it's not like they could make it, what's the word I'm looking for? Congruent, maybe? Would that be a proper? It's not like they could make everything congruent. That seems like a pretty good word. So I'm glad that you've been able to get some help. Not sure when we might do another Jamland broadcast. Haven't had anybody reaching out that wants to play, so I'm just kind of waiting to hear from dudes. And still not having a bunch of guys jump on the opportunity, and I'm still not seeing a bunch of other channels doing it, but that will happen, mark my words. I know that there are a couple other channels that are doing it, but they've found guys, and none of those guys will actually participate on my channel. It's probably because they would be being unloyal to the channel, whatever they play on. So I'm waiting to get some feedback from guys, or find some guys that'll get something done ultimately. So let's get this at 0, and there you go. That's how you do it. Let me move this knob one more notch. No, that's too far. There we go. Now it's all dialed in. My speaker is fixed. We had a great show last night, by the way. It was really fun, but we were how do I say this? We had a bass player that had literally 36 hours of notice, who wanted to play and wanted to fill in for us, and he did a fantastic job. His name is Kevin McElhaney, and he lives in Cove, and had no idea that guy could play bass at the level that he played at last night. It was remarkable. So everybody give a high five to Kevin. He's a former guitar student of mine. He took lessons from me for about 6 months. I gave him a lot of scale practice and chord theory, and he just ran with it. And I had no idea he was that solid of a bass player. It was really fantastic. Let's see. Yeah, there he is. Everybody say hi to Kevin. Kevin, that problem is solved. Problem solved. And you can see it didn't take me long, but I already did one, so I knew already how to do it. The other one took me about an hour to get fixed. Yeah. Joe, welcome, man. Yeah. Yes, Joe, you're absolutely right in that. I am certainly my own worst critic, and it was really fun, I think. Again, the speaker is fixed, and we'll never have to deal with that again. That was the whole point of doing this stream, but we can go into the live show last night because that's where this problem really reared its ugly head. And it's happened in 4 or 5 previous shows, and our vocalist was pretty comfortable going up and messing with it to get it to work. But what we can't know is if during the set, if one of the speakers, if one of these built-in failures failed while we were playing and we couldn't hear it. So, now it will never cause a problem again. They're just set for flat response. So whatever we do at the main console and whatever we hear out of our monitors is what the audience is hearing. So we have that dialed in. Let me see, what was I going to say? For me, last night was really special to get to play with Kevin because he is a student, or was a student of mine. He hasn't taken lessons from me it's been a couple of years probably, but we've stayed in touch, and he lives not far. He comes in and I work on his guitars because he breaks them. No, he wants them adjusted and wants them to play right. If stuff gets weird, he brings it in and lets me solve that problem. But he actually got to see and hear me play in a live environment, which is where I love to be. And it's fun for me to get to lead by example for people who are taking lessons or want to learn from me. And I have been very clear with him. If I ask him, what do I say at every lesson? I'll give you about 20 seconds to answer that question. I'm almost certain I know what he's going to type, if he can. I don't know if he's driving. He was sounding like he was going to be busy. I'm going to let him try and answer that question for you, because I'm hoping that he will. I'm hoping he's still here. What do I say at every lesson to every single student I have? If all of them were here, they'd all type the exact same thing. I don't know how much latency there is, and when I have it set to, I didn't set it to low latency. That's one thing. He failed that question, by the way. Timing is everything. Doesn't matter if it's comedy, a movie, playing guitar. Timing is everything. Play the wrong note all night long. As long as you play it in time, the audience can still sing along. Prove me wrong on that one. So that's my statement. And we did a really great job. He was, we stretched some sections of the songs out and let me take them for a ride and improv in like what I do on Jamland. Yes, I probably did say keep it simple. Because people want to shred right out of the gate, and you need to play it slow and clean before you play it fast and sloppy. And last night, as the songs built, we cover a song called What I Like About You. You've all heard it. What I like about you. You hold me tight, right? And first solo, it was a few notes. Just nailing one note. Play one note for 20 seconds. You don't have to play 80 million in 20 seconds. Play one note and drive that thing home, and maybe play 3 in 20 seconds and repeat them. I did that the first solo. The second one, did a little bit more. And the third one, I did even more and really went nuts and soloed all the way out. And the band did a great job of accommodating and working with Kevin in reeling him in if he got a little lost. You know, I could turn around and show him the chords. He did just a fantastic job, you guys. It was really, I was shocked. Yeah. Texas, high E's fretting out. Oh boy. Oh boy. Depends on what kind of guitar it is. If you have individual saddles like a Strat or a Schecter with individual, each string has its own saddle. Typically there are small hex keys, and they're like a 1 mil hex key often. They might be a 1.5 mil, and depending on if it's a made in America, then it would be a 0.5 mil or 0.5 thousandths wrench and a hex key. Just what I recommend, if you have a string that's fretting out, put your let me see if I have those. I got a Strat right over here I can show you. I'll use this one. Just so you know, this is real easy, and you should know how to do this, man. If you're a guitar player, these hex keys. What I would recommend is put the hex key in there and give it a quarter turn, and turn each of them the exact same amount. A quarter turn, turn that one a quarter turn, and check the string. And literally, if you have to do that 30 times to find where that sweet spot is where you have no more fret buzz, that's a great way to do it without measuring. It's an Ibanez with a Floyd Rose. Does it have a Floyd Rose bolt? Or is it just is it like a hardtail like this? It doesn't matter. Even if it has a whammy bar, you may have saddles like this. This is a hardtail Telecaster. But and if you have saddles like this, that's exactly how you do it, whether you have a whammy bar on it or not. It does have a Floyd. Okay. Well, let me show you on this gem. You're lucky. I've got every guitar in the world here. And I have to give a big thanks to my clients who leave beautiful instruments like this. Oh, by the way, that's Joe Satriani's autograph, and those are both Steve Vai's autograph. That was October of 2013, and this was October of 2016. Isn't that cool? So Floyd Rose, depending on what you have, there are shims that they make that will fit under these saddles, so you can remove that screw, lift it up, and put a shim under there. But also, if you have this 2-point pivot system, that's where this whammy bar pivots. This is a 4 mil hex key. Put it in there, and now here's the important part of this, and it sucks on these, but undo the locking nut, loosen that up, and take the string tension off of the strings. You do not want these strings pulling on this and turning these. You will ruin the blade point, the pivot point on that, and it can mess up your guitar. Yeah, this is beautiful, and I literally just got it done. We did a fret level and crown on this thing, and it's got about the lowest action you could ever dream of on a guitar. And I can't, unfortunately, this one, I can't lower it any further. This is bottomed out, which it wasn't built like that the day that the owner of this guitar bought it. And I recommended putting a neck shim in there that would allow me to raise that up a little bit and get the string action where it should be, but he doesn't really want to do that. So anyhow, yeah, so bolt, if that helps, you know, you can actually raise and lower these. That's what they're there for. You can tilt that or raise it up to get that string buzz taken care of. And very, very small movements. You know, and also I use so here's the deal. If you use this and measure at the 12th fret, you can do a measurement down here and move that. You know, anything you do here, if you move this up 2/64, it will raise the string action at the 12th fret 1/64. If you move it 3/64, it'll move it 1.5/64 at the 12th fret. So, valuable information. And I do recommend, if you play guitar, to own one of these, just so you can do this sort of stuff if you have an emergency fix that you need to do at home. But I'm hoping that your Floyd Rose has something similar. But be sure, do not turn these with the string tension on it, man. You will possibly regret making that choice. I can't stress that enough. So do as I say, not as I do. No, I'm joking. But definitely take the string tension off. I can't remember what all. Oh, we got a little bit of intonation work to do on this one. I got done with this yesterday, and got the strings on it, but we have to adjust the intonation. It's off a little bit. And I am going to reapproach the young man that owns this guitar about please let me put a shim in the neck so I can get the string action right. So there you go. That's my advice. Oh, and here's another one. Here's another one that I have here. This is the vocalist slash rhythm guitarist in our band. Just inherited this guitar from, unfortunately, a young man who we both knew. I didn't know him real well, but he had some medical problems and unfortunately didn't make it out alive. And very young man. It's very sad. But this now belongs to our vocalist in our band. A beautiful U.S. made Strat, or I'm sorry, Telly. I think it's a 1992. It could be a 94. I'm not 100% certain. But it works fine. We're just going to do a full setup on this and get it back in business for him. So I've got this one to work on. I've also got this one that I got to work on. Still got the neck issue that I got to fix. And let's see what else. And then the gem. So my speaker project is now done. I'm so happy to have that done. That is a big moment today. Big moment. There you go. Oh, and check this out. So also, I have this guitar here. Pretty wicked cool guitar. This one is going to end up, shh, don't tell anybody, shh. This one's going to be a birthday present to somebody very special. Yeah. Take care, Kevin. Thanks for dropping in today. I'm going to end this stream right here. I hope that maybe anything that I've shared with you will help you. And I gotta go home. I have the new, what is it? The Nameless Suite, the Nameless X. It's a Nameless plugin by Neural DSP. They have a 50% off sale going right now, so if you were ever thinking about buying a Neural DSP amp sim and Bolt, dude, I highly recommend that you think about getting one of those. You can run that during your streams if you're using Reaper and get that to StreamYard, and you won't have to have your guitar going into your mixing board. You just plug your guitar straight into your audio interface, and it would eliminate that mixing board almost completely. And it works in stereo all by itself, so you would be eliminating a bunch of possible problems. But I recommend those plugins to anybody. They are fantastic, and I am not sponsored by Neural DSP by any stretch of the imagination. But if you want a Jackson, yeah, Joe, we just happened to have a young guy come in here, and he was tired of owning the thing. It had been hanging on his wall. So we cleaned it up. We had to redo all of the wiring in it. Somebody got turned loose with a soldering gun. Oops, that reminds me. I better turn my soldering gun off. And messed up the wiring in it, but my journeyman fixed that. And so Jackson, that Jackson is going to get in the hands of a really great little guitar player. There you go. I highly recommend the Neural DSP amp sims to anyone and everyone. They work as a standalone, and they will work in your DAW. And your DAW should almost automatically recognize it if you use Reaper. And I do recommend Reaper. There's not much out there that's equal to or better than that plugin. These things suck. Get rid of them out of your amps. These are a terrible, terrible device, and I like to call them built-in failure. There you go. Maybe we'll see y'all later. Peace.